It's your girl, the grown woman gamer, and today I'm coming at you with another fire commentary about what else? Basketball. But before I get into that, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment. I'd love to hear from you. But today we're going to talk about the NBA season opener. Last night the Nets played the Bucks and the Lakers played the Golden State Warriors. So I'm going to start with the first game and just give you my overall thoughts. First off, as much as I hate to say that LeBron James may be passing the torch, Giannis looked great in that game. You know what? The one thing I like about him is that he's fearless. Even when he misses, he keeps putting up shots. Physically, he's one of the most dominant, arguably the most dominant player in the NBA. No one's going to stop him from getting to the basket and scoring. And frankly, Blake Griffin attempted to, but they really did not have anybody strong enough to contend with Giannis. And the Bucks look great. They came out with a lot of energy. They got their rings, and we know they were probably feeling great. The crowd, everything was behind them, and they pretty much whooped up on the Brooklyn Nets. There were moments when it felt like the Nets were getting back, but what else can you say? The Bucks ran through the Nets. Kevin Durant looked like Kevin Durant. James Harden to me had his moments, but the one thing I will note is that that system of basketball that they play in Brooklyn, it doesn't feel like the best fit for him when I watch him play. And with the new rules about fouling on 3 pointers and these unnatural moves into the defense to try to get to the free throw line, with that being out the window, I think he's going to have to make some adjustments to his game if they're going to win. And it's just him and Kevin Durant as a duo definitely doesn't work as well as him, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie as a trio, obviously. And so you could feel from watching them play that the energy in the players, it just felt off. I didn't feel a high energy positivity coming from the main players or even the bench players. Claxton had a great game. I saw a lot of that from him, but there's definitely there's definitely something going on energetically with that team. They're a good team, but without Kyrie Irving, they're going to struggle against teams like the Bucks, and that's very clear. And they'll need Kevin Durant to be his best self if they're going to be one of the more dominant teams in the East. But it is just the first game, so I'm not making any broad assumptions about what's going to happen over an 82 game season. But the Bucks look great. Middleton looked great. When Drew Holiday was in the game, it looks like he may have injured himself. He did well. Connaughton, even the supporting cast, they were fantastic. And so with that being said, I'm going to move on to the Lakers. That to me, this game was more interesting. You had the LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook taking on uh, Curry and Jordan Poole. Who would have thunk it? I mean, I don't know much about this kid. I did do a little research. I guess he came out the G League. He had an excellent game. He was shooting lights out, and I don't think that the Lakers were prepared to deal with that second option. Everybody knows what Stephen Curry is going to bring to the game. He's going to score. He is going to shoot threes. He's going to get to the basket here and there. He's not necessarily going to be the biggest threat on defense, but you are going to have to contend with him on the offensive side of the basketball, which makes up for where he may lack on the defensive side. And the I feel like the Golden State Warriors did exactly what we would expect them to do in that game. But the one X factor was this kid Poole, 22 years old. Like I said, right out of the G League. He got this contract with the Golden State Warriors, and he's living up to it. I mean, he was balling out of control. He was shooting lights out, and I think that made a huge difference in the game. But the other thing that I want to address, which was very clear, is that the Lakers might have a Russell Westbrook problem. Now, let me preface what I'm about to say with this. I have made numerous videos on Russell Westbrook. I have said consistently, year after year, he is a future Hall of Famer. He is an exciting player to watch. Physically, he's right up there. He takes excellent care of himself. And he can score. He can rebound. He can get you assists. He's fast. He's strong. But the thing that Russell Westbrook has been missing, in my estimation, is like a level of composure and poise that you expect in a point guard that's been in the league for over 10 years. When you compare him to other point guards that we consider court generals, right? People like Rajon Rondo, people like, and I'm talking Rajon Rondo in his prime, because we're not going to compare Russell Westbrook to Rajon Rondo now because Rajon Rondo is a veteran player who's really there to offer more insight and guidance than to be like the physical force on the team. They're still expecting Russell Westbrook to play like kind of in a subprime way. Like maybe he's not going to be 27-year-old Russell Westbrook, but they're still expecting him to deliver up triple doubles or close to it. He plays so out of control. Sometimes I wish that he would just slow down a little bit. Like there has to be, for point guards, there's a time to run and gun, and then there's a time to slow the game down. And because of the way that because of the other people that he's playing with, sometimes slowing it down a bit would be ideal. And I think on this team where he is not the number one option, in order for him to be effective, he is going to have to slow down. He was making a lot of careless turnovers. He was not, like, I expect when I see point guards who are supposed to be running an offense to really observe and make decisions and be intentional about who they pass the ball to and the choices they make when they're out on the floor. I don't see that from him. Now, I don't expect young point guards to have that down to a science. They get it because they've been practicing that in AAU and in high school and even maybe in middle school. But once you're in the NBA, the thought that goes into the game and how that needs to be executed through the person that's managing the basketball, typically your point guard or your point forward, you're expecting a higher level of decision making. And I just do not see that from Russell Westbrook. So I don't understand. Like physically, he is capable of doing anything you ask him to do that you would ask someone his height to do. But mentally, asking him to really like look at what's happening, look at the things I'm doing right, look at the things I'm doing wrong, and make adjustments, not to always be on one setting. Like just go, go, go. Like slow down, watch what's happening, observe. I just don't see that from him. And if he doesn't get to that point, he's going to become more of a liability than an asset for the Lakers. Because the Lakers have a target on their back. Every single team that plays against them is going to want to beat them. So they're going to bring their A game. They're playing against LeBron James, who still last night demonstrated that he can play as well as anybody in this league after over 17 years in the league. So they don't have the option of taking a night off unless it's against a team that just they could run through anyway, like the worst team in the league. But even the worst team in the league is going to bring their A game when they're playing against LeBron James, just because of the respect that most of these young players have for him. Russell Westbrook is going to have to make an adjustment. And I'll say the same thing for James Harden. James Harden's going to need to make some adjustments. It's a different NBA now. There are a lot more teams that are strong. There are a lot more teams that are going to contend, both in the East and the West. And it's not going to be a cakewalk, especially for these teams like the Nets and the Lakers, who everybody wants to beat because they feel like these are the two best teams in the league. LeBron James was spectacular last night. He was in rare form as usual. I hope that he continues to stay healthy. I'm hoping to go see him play in Boston in about a month, so I hope my man stays healthy. But those are my thoughts. I'm not saying that Russell Westbrook is going to absolutely be a liability for the Lakers, but hopefully with his teammates, like Rondo and LeBron and Carmelo and Frank Vogel, they can kind of come together and figure some things out to help him kind of slow down a bit. But those are my thoughts. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Please subscribe to my channel. Comment if you disagree or agree with me. And I will definitely be back with another fire commentary very soon. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm out.